Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Week 30 of quarantine. We're both going insane.
I've watched everything on Netflix. Everything.
Provisions are running low.
Only 10 bags of Doritos left. Getting worried.
Getting worried. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Still doing video chatting, trying to do the social distancing, socially responsible social distancing. And still recording.
Hope an hour away is far enough. If not, then I just give up. Let me get the COVID.
Yeah, it's still geez, there he goes. You're gonna have to get some dark side energy to fight that off, man.
That did mute, right? You
No,
just saw it, right?
I saw it.
Okay, good, because that would have been deafening for for the listeners.
Yeah, you're good. So, how's the week been going for you?
I'll tell you what, I had a nice little staycation. I came down with what I call a allergy cold last Friday, and I was told to take a week off, which I gladly took. Had some sick time built up and got to stay home. I had a little project boat I worked on a little and got to just relax a while. It's been a good week.
Yeah, I think one of the things that obviously we're not making fun of the situation because
no, of course not. No.
Well, I feel like there are definitely some people out there who think making any sort of light, even in a very lighthearted way, is not a good thing. But I mean, honestly, humor is kind of what makes the world go round anyway, makes things go a little easier. But it's something we both have, around this time of the year. When we fall into spring and the flowers come out and the pollen's going crazy, seasonal allergies hit. So we get, to sneezing and coughing and running nose and all that good stuff. And yeah, I mean, although you're, we're not doctors, but, probably nothing more than that. It is kind of one of those deals where folks are going to start asking you, hey, stay home. So.
Right. Which I'm fine with. I actually took advantage of an Xbox sale and picked up the remake of Resident Evil 2 and played a little bit of that. That was pretty fun. Yeah,
I've watched some gameplay on it. Wait. Was it 2 that came? Didn't they put another one out, though?
3 just came out.
Okay.
Actually, the day that my little quarantine started, but I didn't really feel like spending $60. And I felt like if I was going to do that, I'd want to start with 2 anyway. Yeah, no, I did watch 2 footage, but I have watched 3 footage here recently. Very interesting. I mean, I remember playing a little bit of Resident Evil, like on the original systems and so forth. Yeah, we had the PS1 2-disc, side A, scenario A, scenario B version, the original.
Right.
That was... Actually, I don't think I ever played that copy because at the time I was young enough that still kind of gave me a little nightmare fuel. So I never played the original.
Yeah, I actually think probably if I had to pick one that I would not have played as a kid, I actually think it was 7. Because I think 7 was the more recent one with like the backwoods sort of deal. Yeah, that one.
The super survival horror aspect where it was kind of like Outlast, if you ever played that. First person, you really can't fight back kind of game. Yeah,
I think that one is probably, at least from what I've seen, the most intense that I've seen. And I, as a kid, I wouldn't want to do that. The others,
that would be a fun VR game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be.
I need to change my pants now. Kind of thing.
I did watch some footage from the Half-Life Alyx, which is a VR game. Have you seen any of that?
No, I still haven't looked any of that up, but we were talking about that last time. Sounds pretty interesting.
It honestly, it looks extremely cool. I would I'd be down for that. It's not a very long story, but it you know, from the footage and the gameplay, it looks awesome. So that from a VR standpoint would be neat. I'm still just not on the VR train yet. I've seen so much stuff that I think I would really enjoy, but like the systems are not cheap. Because I think if I had to go with one, I'd probably just do Oculus Quest because it's wireless.
And that one's standalone, correct? You don't actually use that with a console like the
I believe so.
PS4 VR and all that stuff.
Yeah, I believe that is the case, and coincidentally, apparently, from what I've seen, the PSVR is garbage. But
yeah,
because what was it? The Valve Index? Valve put out one which is supposed to be awesome, but it's also like $1,000. So it better be awesome. Better be the best thing since sliced bread.
But that gets every Valve game, so that would be kind of fun playing Left 4 Dead or any of the other Valve titles.
Right. But I've seen some
buggy mess as well.
No, not really. I mean, everything that I've watched on a lot of that stuff has been fairly smooth. There's gonna be some buggies and some stuff that you have to cheese a bit. But honestly, man, I thought a lot of that looked really, really good. So I'd be interested. I'm just not ready to drop that kind of money on that sort of thing because I know I wouldn't play it all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, you're not much of a gamer anymore anyway, so I couldn't imagine you wanting to take the time to set it up. And I mean, you have to have a decent amount of space to play on those kind of consoles as well. So I wouldn't personally get one, I don't think, because of that. If I had a big entertainment center, a really nice, clear space, I would think about it. But again, that cost,
Yeah. Cost is definitely there. But Yeah. So you're playing video games. I'm trying to YouTube more and branch out a few other little projects here and there. We had talked about my guitar project that I'm going to be doing. I have most of the parts for that. Just had to order a couple of more things. So that'll be a YouTube
someone
deal.
Couldn't just spray paint everything black.
No, I'm not really a painter. I mean, I can paint a wall, but some of that kind of painting stuff just gets a little bit tedious for me because and then when you really
clean up and prep and everything,
right? Yeah. But then when you really get down to it, when you're doing the finishes on those, you kind of have to have a buffer, to buff things and whatnot, and then it becomes a whole big deal. But
and then you're spending $300 on equipment for something you just buy the color you want for $10.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm not
myself.
I'm not a luthier, so I would never claim to be. And I just I do have a pick and part guitar, as I'm kind of calling it, worth of stuff that I'm pretty happy with what I have, and I think it'll make a pretty decent little guitar. But yeah, that'll be a YouTube thing when I can get everything, and then I can start that a little bit too. So I'm still working, still going to work and working from home and working from the office and switching back and forth. It's a ton of fun, man.
You finally have everyone in your department set up properly?
Nope.
Good to go?
Nope. Still have a couple. It's mainly internet issues right now. But it's actually, so I'm not an IT person, but having, a team of people, you're kind of like the point of contact. So when they have issues, how do I fix it? It's like, I don't know. Call the IT line. What do you want me to do? How do I set up 2 monitors? It's like, well, you just set up 2 monitors. I mean, it's like a setting. Just
YouTube
Google it. Yeah, Google it, YouTube it, figure it out. But there's some people that just aren't tech savvy enough for that kind of stuff, and it's hard. It's very hard to get everybody up and running. It's like, listen, we want you all to work, to be able to work and continue to make money, and we have that capability here. But if it's kind of one of those things, it's like, but if you can't make it work, if we can't help you make it work, then I mean, what's the option? Because eventually, there could be the possibility that we won't be able to have the site open, and the only option will be work from home.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It's
weird times.
Weird times, yeah, for sure. But yeah, working through that, and I'm still on the job. You're still on the job, and doing your stuff. So it's not much of a
life could be worse. Really. Life could be worse. We could be non-essential. And to anyone who is non-essential right now, I'm very sorry for what you're dealing with. Hopefully, you're getting that nice bonus on unemployment if you're even able to sign up for it.
Yeah, I think the whole I don't want to dive too deep into this because that's not the podcast, but like, yeah, the whole non-essential thing is kind of upsetting because it's like, how do you even call anybody non-essential when you literally sit there and say, well, you can do anything you want, but we still need this and 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 this to run. You know what I mean? So how do you say somebody's non-essential? It's just kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think you could pick someone from every department from somewhere you work and say, yeah, we don't need that person. But there's not a lot of places I think you don't need in a functioning society.
No doubt. But
everyone's going insane without our Gamescapes and GameStops open. Everyone's just falling apart.
Well, I mean, there was something about the GameStop, and they're like closing, like legitimately closing, like 300 stores nationwide anyway. So that's difficult stuff.
They're hurting bad.
Well, they've been hurting bad for a long time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because people finally realize it's stupid to trade in 30 games for $5, and eBay is your friend.
Well, and then you can order that new game online. You don't have to go in and wait and all that sort of stuff. So, yep, it's good. It's good times.
The pre-order bonuses, man. The pre-order bonuses.
I need that skin. Give me that custom skin. Well, anyway, let's go ahead.
We're not talking about Star Wars again.
I know. Well, let's go ahead and jump off that and actually talk some Star Wars. So, continuing our watch of Clone Wars Season 7, we are on Episode 7, Dangerous Debt. Dangerous Debt. Still riding with Ahsoka and the Martez sisters. Yeah, Rafa and Trace.
Yes, I just watched it before we recorded, so I'd remember their names. Don't know why I have trouble with that.
Obviously I remember Trace because she's a little bit bigger part of things. Rafa, I mean, I remember it now, but it's just like that first episode. I couldn't think of her name to save my life for whatever reason. But yeah, so this is now the third episode in the Ahsoka arc, or this Ahsoka arc for Season 7. And
certainly not the last by the look of it.
Nope. Yeah, and spoiler alert, we'll definitely at least be getting one more episode concerning what a cliffhanger. And we never figured out what happened to them. So as we follow this arc, Ahsoka had, obviously left the Jedi Order. She's off on her own, not doing too well. Crash lands on, a little landing pad where Trace, works and has her ship that she's building. Offered her friendship, and we kind of get a little bit into the mind of Rafa and her schemes, her side hustles and everything. And then we get a job, a big old job, which winds up, the big score, which winds up being a spice run from Kessel to the Pikes, which I still don't remember the name of that planet.
Yeah. It's actually one mentioned multiple times in the Star Wars universe too. It's bad.
Well, whatever. It's where the Pikes are at. It's Pikey Planet. Who knows?
It's Pike Planet.
Pike Planet. Yeah. Now on the way to deliver the spice, we get this continued fighting between Ahsoka and Rafa. They have two very opposing viewpoints here. Ahsoka's still very influenced by topside Coruscant, Jedi Order, Jedi Code. And Rafa's down here trying to survive and help provide for her sister. And Trace does kind of the dumbest thing she could have done and drops a spice in space. So
no one's taking my ship.
Yeah, very, very territorial over that ship. So they decide a plan. Well, Ahsoka kind of has a plan, which nobody really likes, to try and double cross the Pikes. Yeah, good reasons.
Good reason.
Does use a Jedi mind trick, and they attempt to go with the payment. And however, that was unsuccessful. They were put in Pike prison, and that's kind of where we left off a little bit there. And now we're kind of seeing the results of this, and we still got to wait for at least another episode to see the resolution. So
yeah.
So what did you think?
No,
go ahead.
I would say the exact same thing, basically. Spoiler free. What did you think of the episode?
Well, we already kind of spoiled some already,
well,
didn't we?
Yeah, but like without getting into like how it ended.
I did think it was good. I kind of, what's the best way to put it? I think I'm starting to cool off a little bit on Trace. I kind of, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I think it was a good episode. It's pretty solid. It's a good continuance of the story. There are a couple of little surprises in here as well, which are going to lead to stuff down the line, which is interesting. But I kind of thought we would have this three episode arc, but it's like, no, it seems like everything's just going to be 4 episode arc, doesn't it?
Yeah, so basically we get 3 stories by the looks of it.
That could be.
Yeah. As far as my opinion goes, for storytelling and character progression, it was a fine episode. Mm-hmm. For actually getting somewhere in the story, just kind of a, I don't know, dead in the water kind of episode for me.
Well, you ended where you started.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So I guess we can just go ahead and jump in here. We do start in prison.
So now you know where we end.
Yeah, they ended in prison. And there's some torture going on here as well. Rafa.
Yes, the creepy little spider torture droid thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hunchback. If a droid were hunchbacked and that's how they walk, this is how this torture droid would be.
It's a failed minotaur. Half spider, half hunchback.
Yeah. So Rafa's kind of tortured first. Ahsoka catches a stun cane a couple of times.
Yes.
Still not revealing her Jedi powers. And we also,
for good reason, with the dialogue we get.
Yeah, exactly. We get some more insight into Rafa and Trace's backstory. We kind of had in another episode where our parents, they split.
Yeah,
which isn't really the case. Their parents were killed in was it Zero the Hutt's escape. The Jedi, were going around attempting to apprehend, and what was it? Ship was coming down, or was that what it was?
I believe so. Yeah, transport ship.
I don't even remember Zero's escape. I can't even remember that very well now.
It was season 2, I think. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in order to divert this transport from taking out a bunch of people on a platform, they basically slammed it into a wall, which unfortunately happened to be where the Martezes lived. The parents were able to get their daughters out of harm's way. However, they were killed, and a Jedi, and I didn't really go back to really deep dive into that, but they said, was a Jedi with green skin.
Yeah.
Came up.
I think it's what's her name? She's got the little black markings all over her face, almost like freckles. I think it's her.
Okay. Yeah. Her did it. But but essentially we have this this meeting and she sort of says, the Force will be with you, and then just sort of leaves. So I assume that the idea was
I had to make a choice, and your parents were
right.
The lesser of two evils.
Now, whether that's the actual dialogue, I mean, that's hard to tell, but that's what the girls remember. And they remember essentially that's very kind of arrogant. It's like, I had to make a choice. It didn't even sound like there was an apology about it, but the Force will be with you. So I assume that the thought was just like, well, you're just going to go into the system and you'll be taken care of by the Republic. But that's not really what happened. And they kind of just had to survive on their own, which does provide a valid insight into why they wouldn't care for the Jedi. I mean, the Jedi, basically took their parents. I mean, I think that they both understand that it was inadvertent, but the follow-up, they did nothing to actually help anyone out there. They just kind of took care of the immediate situation and then just bounced. Yeah.
And it definitely didn't help things that they didn't actually succeed in recapturing Zero. So it's literally for nothing. In the eyes of the sisters.
Exactly. So again, we have this dialogue, and I think Ahsoka is starting to figure out, I mean, what she already kind of knows. I mean, she already kind of feels this stuff, and which is a big reason why she left the Jedi Order. She kind of gets that there are issues with the Jedi Order, and it's not all right. And now she's getting to see how, even without Palpatine's influence, how the Jedi were going to be turned against by the normal populace.
Yeah. And again, the aftermath of their little adventures, how they negatively affect lives.
Yep. So. Exactly. So, Roth is tortured, and then they go to take Trace. And I have to be honest with you here. This is actually where we get a little bit sensational, and I'm not 100% like on board with what happens next, because I don't get how we get there. Because Trace basically turns into a super soldier, can't miss with a blaster, apparently is very well versed in hand-to-hand combat. And that to me just, it doesn't make much sense, because it's like, well, how exactly did you acquire those skills? You're the mechanic.
Yeah. Probably has been in the same area for the good portion of 2 or 3 years. No reason to defend herself, because her sister always did. So,
well, I mean,
I could see Rafa doing that.
Maybe, but I mean, you see,
I think if they had flipped roles, it would have been better.
Yeah, but you see how she did against the gangsters the first time we met her. It's like she wasn't able to fight them off, but she was able to somehow defeat the Pikes all single-handedly and then run through the halls and shoot everyone with perfect precision.
Yeah, I've got to say, this whole little story arc has made the Pikes look like bumbling idiots.
Yeah, definitely. All this huge, terrible crime syndicate is is undermined by one girl. Have we gotten ages? How old is Trace supposed to be?
I would say somewhere around 20.
Really? That
maybe
old?
A little younger.
I don't think she's that
maybe
old.
A little younger, but I don't think we've gotten ages. No. Star Wars isn't very good with ages.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can't look that up. I don't think she's that old. I feel like she's like a teenager.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe Rafa's around that age.
Yeah, that could be. Jeez. Let's see here. I don't know, man. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting to a page. We're getting to there's no ages. Anyway, I still think that she's very young, and she acts young. I think teenage. I'm gonna say teenage, but that's just me.
Okay.
And then making Rafa maybe 20s, maybe. But I could be wrong. We could all be wrong. I've been wrong before, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Either way.
Jedi are never wrong.
Either way, it just seems like it seems very strange. Like next we're going to learn she's force sensitive. You know what I mean?
Don't go there.
Everyone's there's been an awakening in the force. Trace Martez, Jedi Knight.
Right before Order 66, we just have this massive emergence of force sensitives, and they're dead.
Retcon everything. Yeah, it just seemed out of place for me personally. But she was kind of able to escape. Oh, and she seems really like okay with just killing people.
Yeah, totally fine with it.
I mean, she didn't even hesitate.
Honestly, I could have seen maybe jabbing that guy in the side and getting one shot off, but the only problem I have with Clone Wars is the accuracy. You always have these unrealistic moments where, you get shot at 13 million times and nothing hits you, and you're just crack shot. Just perfect every time. But that has always been a problem. It's nothing new, so it didn't surprise me. It did disappoint me. A trained clone trooper makes a little sense, at least. This, far-fetched.
It just seemed a little bit strange. She was just combat ready, stone cold killer. Yeah. I mean, well, maybe she thought it was on stun. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that they're dead. And then
I think by the third one, she'd realized they were dying.
Oh, they're just stunned. It's okay. Just keep shooting. And they even had one, they didn't show it, obviously, but they clearly initiated that one of the pikes was cut in half in an elevator.
Oh, no, that was pretty brutal.
And
it was slow motion, too. Like, you saw it coming for a while. I'm like, are they going to do this? Is it going to happen? Are they really going this route? Are they going Mandalorian route here?
Well, it's like Austin Powers. If you remember in the first movie, that one guy yelling at him to stop is like the
roller.
Yeah, the roller comes closer, stop, and it just slowly rolls him. It's like that sort of seemed like what that was.
I'm on an elevator. I'm going to hang off the side of it. This can't end badly.
Well, that's a terrifying thing of elevators. I'm not afraid of elevators. I don't ride elevators unless I have to, though, because I'd rather take the stairs. They break down a lot more than people want to imagine. And if you have some of the old, this is way off Star Wars, but if you have some of the ones that aren't hydraulic, and the cable base, there's some stuff that could happen that's very bad. At least the hydraulic ones will slowly bring you down to the lowest point, so you will eventually hit a floor. But that whole thing to me just doesn't. Just don't get in between floors. Don't stick your body through it. You never know. That's a classic movie trope.
Yeah, no, I'll gladly get a little exercise in and take the inconvenience of stairs.
There you go. So let's see here. So we have the little mini escape. Ahsoka uses the Force again to bring down the force field. She is still not caught. And kind of have the little comedic running into each other.
I was going to save you. No, I was saving you.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, they do escape the Pike's little palace thing here, or jail, or whatever you want to call it. And onto the streets. We get the little beggar. Spare some credits. You look like you have some credits.
Did you guess kind of right off the bat that they would reuse the line he gave?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was kind of obvious.
Yeah. Spare some change. Spare change, anyone.
And also that would bite them in the butt very quickly.
Yep. So we have some fighting in the streets. Just blaster bolts everywhere. Yeah, that's people. It's fine. Several speeders that just didn't work out for our heroes here. Speeder. Shot, done.
Yeah. I love the little crash. The people, as they're crashing, they're acting like they're just about to spin out of control, and they're literally just stopping. And they're screaming at the top of their lungs.
That's funny.
It's like, you're not about to drop out of the air. I mean,
right. So let's see here. We get a bit of a standoff with some of the Pikes. They are able to capture the Martez sisters a few times, capture Ahsoka, then they get away, and then they're captured again. It's like this insane cat and mouse story. Ahsoka is finally able to take control of what the heck was that thing with the cannons on?
I don't know.
What even was that? It was
like a piece of it was like construction equipment that had extra functions for no reason.
It's like, well, listen, we need lasers. We need more laser cannons. Give our dad
this thing. This thing was just sitting around with I mean, whatever their equivalent of a key is in it, ready to go. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that was a little strange, but Ahsoka does take out quite a few Pikes. And then we see some interesting little characters here on the rooftop, kind of following Ahsoka. Could that be the Jedi that we know? I mean,
you're a great Jedi.
Jeez. So some potential.
My first thought before I saw the mask, I'm like, because they only had one following around the street at first.
Yep.
Oh, it's going to be Anakin, and he's going to save the day.
I wasn't quite sure about Anakin, but I thought maybe a Jedi, somebody that she had known, or like Obi-Wan or something like that.
Like is it Kit Fisto that she is good friends with? Yeah, maybe one of them.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, somebody from the Order or some Jedi or something out there. It's like, oh, that's Ahsoka. But it's not. Who is it, Darth? Who did they see?
I don't know. But everyone thinks it's tied into the Mandalorian for some reason. I don't see how.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly not Mandalorians, but...
Yeah, and this is like 25 years before Mandalorian, but whatever.
Well, I mean, obviously they're Mandalorians, and we'll see how it all ties into Mandalore and everything like that, and that could potentially be something that we end the season on, or maybe they actually prediction. I mean, they probably might bust Ahsoka out, right? I mean,
I would think so.
That would,
or just more of a short-term thought. Maybe because they do mention we have a shared enemy.
Yep.
It could just be people fighting with the Pikes. It could be something that simple. I mean,
well, maybe. I think it goes a little bit deeper than that, and I think that this might be our tie-in possibly to Maul. You know what I mean?
It could. Yeah.
So, because obviously, we had Maul sort of, doing his thing on Mandalore too. So, I mean, I think that maybe, because that's another thing that people are talking about. It's like, when are we going to get a tie into Maul? What's happening with Maul? You know what? Listen, Maul was cut in half in episode 1, and I was perfectly okay with no more Maul. But we have Maul and Maul everywhere. Maul mania. Go to the mall, get some Maul. Don't fly into a mall. They're all different things, but they're still Maul, right?
You just don't like Maul because your favorite Jedi is Qui-Gon. I get it.
I'm just saying, you know what?
He's not as interesting as what people made him out to be.
No, I figured out my issue recently. I figured out my issue. I've been watching Star Trek Discovery, which is a newer series. And I finally came to terms with exactly why I don't like when people are brought back after basically dying. I don't like people second guessing their decisions. Okay? I feel like we have this all too common thread where you kill somebody off and it's regretted, either by fans or by writers or directors or something, but they regret getting rid of them, so they figure out some sneaky way to bring them back in. In Discovery, it's going to a mirror universe. So another parallel universe. Oh yeah, well they're here, but I don't like that. I've never liked that. Let them die, create a better character. And if you can't do that, find a better writer.
Or just, say that they had a child. and then they just essentially quit.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm kidding.
No, that's fine, I guess. With Maul, it's like, how many times can we just end him? Just be enough. And I'm sure people aren't going to agree with that, but it's been I just finally had that epiphany. It's like, okay, this is why I don't like this, because I don't like when they bring people back. Make your decision, live with it, and be done.
The problem is it takes away all the high stakes moments where you think, oh, I might lose one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Because there's always a good chance you can get him back if you complain enough.
Yeah.
And another thing that Star Wars does with that, at least they have started to, is they've kind of overused the whole Force Ghost thing a bit, I feel, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, I mean, who cares if a Jedi dies? Because you'll see them again as a ghost, and no one's ever really gone, right? So,
yeah,
I get it. It's part of the lore, but it does kind of make everyone immortal in an annoying kind of way, you know?
Well, this is a classic comic book thing. Like, nobody in comics is ever really dead, because technically
look at Marvel.
Well, Peter Parker's dead.
Yeah, but they're about to come out with another movie.
Well, I mean, that's MCU timelines.
I think it's post Endgame though.
Well, no, I'm saying in the comic series he's dead.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Not in the movies. See, that's a different thing. But like, so you have like Miles Morales, who's, you know, Spider-Man, or who knows? You could get Mary Jane as Spider-Man, but like Peter Parker died in a comic series. I think they wiped out. They've wiped out everybody at some point or another, but they continue to bring him back through whatever loophole. And I guess that's just always something that I've never enjoyed. Anyway, Darth Maul is not in this episode, so maybe we should continue with our episode.
I don't know why we brought this up.
I just got on a rant. I got on a rant because we had Darth Maul, and I figured out why I could care less. I mean, but anyway, let's see, where were we? Sisters being captured. We have the evil Pike dialogue instead of just, you know, executing them.
Just kill him. Be done with it. But wait.
Yeah, it gives Ahsoka enough time to get her weird construction gunship, and it's kind of all for naught. They're still captured, and they're right back where they started.
I mean, I think it would have been funny if they literally just took an exact carbon copy of the last scene of them getting captured and put in the jail and just do that.
Yeah.
I think that would have been funny.
Yeah. So
but it essentially was. So.
Well, and then the other thing is they were ready to execute them, but then now we're not.
But then they put them in jail.
Now you can go back into jail so he can torture you more instead of executing you. It just didn't make much sense, but whatever.
I think they should have just had the hooded figures attack now and save them, and that would have been a good setup for another episode. But they could have jumped to another story and then come back to it.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. I kind of agree with that. Have our Mandos come down at this point, take them out, say, okay, let's go, get to your ship, and then you set up episode 8 instead of now having to do how do they get out of prison again.
Which is going to be an entire episode. It won't be a 5-minute run and then they move on to something else. So,
well, yeah, we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, this episode should have been entitled "Started Where We Began" or "Ended Where We Began." You know,
I feel like it was a waste. Not a waste. It was a long way to set up a little bit more understanding between Rafa and Ahsoka.
Yes.
Which we did get from this. They do understand each other a little more. There's a little more respect on the Ahsoka side.
Yeah.
But was it worth an entire episode? That's essentially what we got out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
Rafa better be important. That's all I'm saying. For them to use an entire episode on her, we better see her in a book or something down the line. You know.
That's actually, I mean, because again, we have the Ahsoka book, which was after Order 66. And, you know, she's already on to the next thing. And, you know, the Martez sisters are obviously not really there. So who knows? Who knows what they're up to? But yeah,
it is a shame for the timeline because it could have been kind of cool. I don't know. Had this episode occurred earlier in Clone Wars, maybe second or third season, it would have been kind of cool to see them, I don't know, in an Aftermath book or something, a little older and, with the rebels, maybe.
But again, this is kind of the thing that happens. You get going, you try and create new characters. The interweave is not always going to be a complete lock. I do like the characters
because it's hard to fit them into anything right now, other than Clone Wars.
Yeah, and I do like the characters. I think it's really cool to have different characters, different than other folks we have here. Interesting hairstyles, kind of the con artist sort of thing, the naive younger sister type of deal. Us against the world sort of mentality. I really like that, and I think it's a good setup for Ahsoka to then go into the Ahsoka book and then into her time as Fulcrum and all that. But again, we've said this a couple of times, and I'm not trying to criticize getting content because I do love content. It obviously helps us out with our show. We enjoy watching it on Fridays and all that stuff, or Saturdays or whatever. But Bad Batch could have been done in 2 episodes, right? Or 3, maybe, probably 2. This, we could have moved on to our next thing at the end of this episode. The Mandos break him out, and then we figure that side out or something. So it's kind of like I don't want to look back at this season like we waited for this and we wasted an opportunity.
To me, this feels like it should be a full 22 episode season with how it's going.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
The fact that I'm almost a little sad already, and again, we've got a long ways to go, but this is our last season. And this is what we have so far. This is how much we have left. And I am getting a little disappointed in a way.
Yeah.
In another way, I'm also very, very much so enjoying it. It's still good content.
Exactly.
It's still the same Clone Wars that we loved. Mm-hmm. It's just, I expected a little more fast-paced storytelling for a shorter season like this.
Now, just a little bit
hitting storytelling.
Right. So just a little bit of context, though. Season 4 was the last time we got 22 episodes. Season 5 was 20. Season 6 was 13.
True. But I feel like they were a little more fast-paced in this, though. We got more out of the story.
I think the story lineups were a little bit tighter. Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
Yeah. More one overarching main story than 3 random separate things that don't intercollide at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, season 6 did have that Jar Jar episode in it, so
we don't talk about that. Just like we don't talk about the droid episode.
Oh man, just Jar Jar and his princess queen friend.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Just stop now.
Never.
Before it's too late.
So anyway, okay. So there's the episode 7, Dangerous Debt. Not a bad episode, but again, I think it is evoking a couple of emotions, kind of getting close to the end, and maybe not feeling exactly like we've gotten anywhere. So let's go ahead and move to episode 8. What are your predictions for episode 8?
I think we're going to see the Mando crew probably break them out of Pike Prison.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I kind of predict to see the sisters stick with Ahsoka the rest of the season. I don't think we're good. I don't think we're going to lose them after this episode. I think one of them might die. I think Rafa might die.
Okay.
Although honestly, I kind of at this point would lean more towards Trace and seeing Rafa change her ways.
Okay.
Not that I don't like Trace, but I think it would be I don't know. I think it'd be more meaningful for Rafa to change her ways as far as, sacrifice goes. Because I don't think it would change Trace all that much. I don't know. Do you think it'll go that way, or do you think that they'll completely turn their back on Ahsoka because they realize she's a Jedi?
So I think that the next episode, I do agree with the Mandalorians kind of maybe helping them out of the prison. I think that through that interaction, they will learn that she's a Jedi. I think that there will be probably a little bit of anger from Trace more so than Rafa. And then I think that they will part ways, but more amicably, because at that point, I think we're going to launch into her and Ahsoka and Anakin reuniting. Now, this isn't insider information. It was something that was at Celebration. There is going to be a reunite. They are going to reunite. It's already been out there. So I think that again, because like we talked about, I think this is all in 4 episode arcs. Okay. So at this point, I think that next episode is the end of the Martez arc. I think that they're going to go back to Coruscant, or actually, I'll tell you this. I don't think that they're going back to Coruscant. I think that they're going to get their ship, and I think that they're going to go somewhere else. I think that they're going to say, okay, Ahsoka, just ripped out my headphones violently from my head. Literally just one downward chop, and it just shot straight out of my ears. Professional podcasters here, talking with my hands and nobody's here. But I think that they are going, I think Rafa will have that transformation where she says, what I'm doing now is not sustainable, and I think Coruscant is a bad place to be. So I think that they're going to take the Silver Angel, the ship,
something like that. I believe so. Yeah,
the Angel, and we're going to go try and make our mark somewhere else. So I think that next episode is the last time we're going to hear from them personally. But I think that they'll be fine. I think they'll be okay. I don't think that the Jedi thing is going to mean a lot, but I think that there'll have to be some dialogue, probably between Ahsoka and Trace, more so than Ahsoka and Rafa. But I could be wrong, but I think that that's kind of how it's going to go. But we're going to lead back into Ahsoka sort of getting back to that reuniting with Anakin sort of arc. Mm-hmm. That's what I think, at least. Because I think possibly it's going to be diving into whatever this problem with the Mandos is. What do we have to do? What's the actual big deal for this season?
Yeah, and I am interested to see a little bit more of the masked figures and get some more information on that.
Word.
It is very intriguing.
Agreed. So anyway, I guess anything else we want to chat about before we wrap up for the day?
Just more about Maul if you want to. I mean, how great he is. How he has nothing to do with Clone Wars.
Jeez.
No, I think we've pretty much talked about this episode as much as we should.
Cool.
More than it's maybe deserved.
Maybe. Yeah. Nah, it wasn't bad. Still looking forward to what we have to come, and we still have several episodes to come, and a lot more to get through. But if any of you out there want to, interact with the show, you can definitely hit us up on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter at TC Plan Podcast, or send us an email to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your stories, send us your thoughts, comments on the episode, whatever you want to do, as long as it's nice. Because if it's not nice, I will find you.
Take it to YouTube. Take it to YouTube.
Take it to YouTube. Yeah, exactly. We're huge on YouTube. Huge.
Yes.
With our non-video videos.
The biggest channel. That's right. The biggest channel. The most monetization. We bring in millions every hour.
The millions and the millions. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap her up. So I will say you guys have a good rest of your week.
Yes, and as always, may the Force be with you.